Yes guys, welcome to this last episode of the free course. Today we're going to see what Profectus tells us about the strategy we just built. I just took the test here we made in episode 3 because we saw in episode 4 that our intended management style turned out like shit. So we're just going to use the base system here we built to do some analysis. With this, we can validate if this is actually profitable. Because we see a nice equity curve, we can be quite happy about it, but there can be a lot of issues with this strategy still. So we're going to give it a... I'm going to share everything I'm looking at. When we have tested the strategy, we can open the strategy backtest report from Profectus AI. This is one of the ways we can analyze it. We also used MetaTrader 5 that has some other ways of evaluating performances, but it all comes down to the same thing. So we're just going to use the built-in Profectus one to see what actually happens. A very high strike rate of 63%, that's actually really high. We also see the profit factor of 1.64. Profit factor means that every trade we take gives us 0.64. There are a lot of things we see on this chart. We see the equity curve, so how the system moves up in profit, and I see that it's quite positive. There are some sophisticated drawdown periods, but that happens with every strategy. If you get a strategy that its equity curve is really steep and constantly increasing, you're either using martingale or you're having an error in your system, and that is not something we want to look at for sustainable returns over a long period of time. In reality, there are just periods that your strategy will not perform as you hope. That's why we test it. We can see when there are losing periods and we can adjust our portfolio according to it. We can maybe add some more strategies that are profitable when this one is losing to hedge the returns and get a more stable return for your prop firms or your private capital, but this just is realistic. So I'm quite happy with this curve. A lot of things I look at, lots of things I skip also. The net profit is quite interesting, how much return we made in these years. So this is just one strategy. Of course, we're going to need a lot more. That's why you need to be building a lot and testing a lot. But this is quite a nice return, around 8% per year. We're outperforming S&P already with just this one single strategy. What's quite interesting is this, the equity drawdown. We see that there's only a max drawdown of 5%. That's really low. We don't get into a lower drawdown than 5% in our backtest. That's quite nice. We see our FTMO phase 1 pass. That's 64%. Important to understand how Profectus measures this. Profectus looks about all the days that we start trading, what will happen if we enter an FTMO challenge that day. At 64% of the days we pass the challenge. Average win, blah blah blah. Maximum winning streak is around 8 trades. Maximum losing streak is about 5 trades. That is good to know because it can be quite heavy for your emotions when you lose 5 trades in a row. You can think, whoa, what the fuck, my strategy isn't working anymore, what do we have to do? But we know that it's perfectly normal to lose 5 trades here. On live market it might even be something more because some weird spreads or some events that hadn't happened before in your backtest. So I'm quite happy with that. And the long short ratio, yeah, we just have 0 long trades and 100 short trades because Jeffrey only built the short side. You can of course build the long side for yourself later. And here we see a lot more. Reversal pattern, profit per hour. You see that this is distributed over the 4 hours. That's quite logical because we take the trades once per 4 hour because we use the run per candle on the 4 hour. So that would make quite sense because we don't execute trades at around 2 o'clock, but because there isn't a 4 hour close day. We see when the strategy is profitable on Monday, Thursday and Friday. Tuesday and Wednesday are actually quite bad performing. It could be interesting to have a look if we want to trade this strategy at all on Tuesday and Wednesday, but we do need to have some reasoning for it why this performance is lower. We can also see that there are quite a lot of months that are shit and that some months create most of the returns. I wouldn't be too eager changing all of this because we still have small data sets, just 100 trades. We really want to have more trades and more data on that before skipping out any months. P&L per year, yeah, all fine, you know, distribution is quite alright. Asian, London, New York, yeah, it's all profitable, so I don't care. Short is only profitable, long does nothing because we don't have any long trades. Here we see the distribution of returns per month. We see that there are not so many setups over here, and that's why we don't have so much trades. So in some months we don't even have any trades, and in some months we just have one trade per month. So you can see that in 2020 we were just in a losing or a boring time of almost half a year, not making any profits. For that, it's quite important to have more strategies, because you're just going to be sitting on your hands for 5 months. Yeah, not gonna happen. We just need to keep building, build more, and add this one to the portfolio and add 10 more strategies to the portfolio to make it really sophisticated and really profitable. But all in all the years are profitable, looks really nice, looks quite realistic also in terms of returns and profit. Here we have a Monte Carlo simulation. This is really important because we know we tested it on a big sample size of data. We don't know if trades will happen in the same order the next time. What the Monte Carlo analysis does, it shuffles the trades 5,000 different ways and just tests in all the different possibilities what happens if the worst distribution of trade happens. In 99% of the situations, we're still profitable. Quite a bit lower, but we also take into account that this is the worst of the 95% possible outcomes. So there are 95% of the outcomes are better than this one, and this is still something I'm willing to work with. So yeah, it's alright. Here we see the FTMO pass rate again. We zoom in on it a little bit more. 64% of the 100 days start past phase 1. 10% profit target, 10% max rolls, -5% daily drawdown. Phase 2, even an 81% pass, because of course that's way easier, just a 5% target and 10% drawdown. And the combined pass rate is 52%. So if we take 2 challenges, we might pass 1, and then we fund it just with this strategy. Guys, this is about it for the free course now. We've taught you a lot in these 5 videos. We taught you how an automated trader thinks, how Profectus works, how we build our first strategy, how we manage our positions, and how we analyze our performance. To get you started to work with this, you of course need inspiration. What kind of trading strategy can I build? I don't have ideas. I want to build the most complex thing in the world. You don't have to. Just be a bit patient. We are going to share 30 free strategies in the upcoming 30 days. Make sure to stay tuned on our Instagram channels, on the free Discord, and on this YouTube channel, because we're going to share so much free value. It's actually crazy. I was talking to Jeffrey yesterday, like, should we even do this? Because it's just so much free value. But yeah, we're just going to do it, fuck it. Enjoy this free course. If you have any questions, make sure to reach us in the Discord or Instagram. Also, make sure to purchase that Pro Profectus, because that really is necessary to get yourself a head start. Again, use TTA10, 10% discount, then you can make the most out of your trading journey. I'm really looking forward to hearing from all of you what you think about this and how we can help you any further with this. Good luck, enjoy, and get working on this, guys. See you next time.